Hey guys, welcome. It's Rob Boyd with TechWise TV, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be joined by Barry Einsig. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Barry, as I understand it, you are the transportation guy. In fact, multiple people have all pointed me in this direction to say when it comes to Internet of Things and what we are doing in regards to transportation, you've got your finger on that pulse, kind of in that realm of both forward-looking, what we're looking to do from a visionary perspective, as well as what we're actually have already accomplished. But because this is always confusing to me, can you define Internet of Things first?
Absolutely.
And make sure we're clear on exactly what we're doing in that area.
So in the Internet of Things, we connect people or process data and things.
See, look at you already.
Yes. Okay, and to do that, we actually break it down across the transportation vertical into the individual modes of transportation.
Okay, that's good.
So we build architectures and solutions for rail systems, mass transit, ITS or intelligent transportation systems, so your roadway, ports, airports, public safety systems, and ultimately to the connected vehicle.
So, and I notice you use the word architecture, so this is not about, we throw access points on trains, run long cables behind fast-moving vehicles, and I've heard bits and pieces over time of neat stuff we do with, you've got a bus back here, or a simulation of a bus. What would you cite as some of the most interesting examples of what we're doing that would excite people about this space in transportation?
So I think from an architecture perspective, understanding that it goes all the way from the data center, where we do our traffic management and traveler information systems, to the onboard systems onboard the vehicles, whether that's on trains, or in buses, or in airplanes. We have a complete architecture that solves the customer's real problems the whole way across Cisco portfolio.
Now that's interesting too, because I actually was starting to default mistakenly, I think, into thinking of this from a consumer standpoint, but the really interesting stuff I would imagine is on the business side, first and foremost, because you mentioned data centers and logistics and things like that. What examples would you cite? Let's see, should I just pick an industry? Well, how about you were talking about railways and some of the interesting things you're doing there. Something in the UK, is it?
So yes, we're doing some wonderful work there for Network Rail. Network Rail is the national rail system for the UK government. And essentially what the Network Rail is looking to do is break rail transportation into three pieces that we've aligned our architectures to. There's the connected rail infrastructure, which is along the track sides. There's the connected station architecture, which is treating a transportation station much like you would a retail establishment. It's a lot of the same communications infrastructure, physical security,
a lot of transactional stuff,
a lot of transactions, Wi-Fi, digital signage, all those kind of fun things. And then ultimately to the onboard on the trains, where you provide both the operational networks as well as the passenger amenity networks, right? Passenger Wi-Fi, physical security, passenger information systems, as well as train control and safety systems.
So when it comes to railways, from a business standpoint, if I'm in that, what am I looking at as being my biggest challenge I'm trying to potentially overcome in that area? Okay, as I always say, what keeps them up at night?
So what keeps them up at night is safety, mobility, and efficiency. Those are the metrics that they really evaluate themselves on, because we all want to ride in the most safe and efficient modes of transportation we can. Their big challenge is that they have many subsystems that they've built over decades.
Oh, so we have you have an existing infrastructure issue that you can't ignore.
Exactly.
Because it's up and running and it's, gotcha.
And those are safety systems that need to maintain the same level of reliability. And they take a long time to migrate. So in the case of Network Rail, it's going to take them a very long time to get to the point where their entire infrastructure is an IP infrastructure. So you have to be able to both translate the existing legacy protocols while you manage the safety and security elements to move forward into the IP infrastructure.
Reminds me a little bit of the background like in IP video surveillance. As we're moving to IP-based cameras, there's still very good infrastructure of existing cameras, so you have to provide that transitional route through those things. So they're going through, plus they've got regulation, I would imagine, to deal with it too. They're not allowed to just say, well, let's try this deployment and see how it goes,
So that's why we do the validated designs of our architecture, and we actually release validated designs. Because what we want to do as a first step is we want to prove inside of Cisco that what we are architecting has actually performed to the requirements that the agencies are looking for. Once we do validated designs, then we can take it to the field and actually trial it in the field and prove that it delivers those metrics. Ultimately, what agencies will want us to do is then turn those into standards, work with the industry bodies to make sure that these infrastructures are validated by the industry bodies so that they can assure that these standards can be enforced across the globe.
Got it. Yeah, well that's no easy task. That's actually
no, it's not.
Monumental to turn around. But I like the idea of validated designs, because we use that in the networking field obviously constantly, because the idea is let's not repeat previous mistakes, and let's learn from each other, and then make sure that stuff is repeatable.
Absolutely, and our partners like that, because most of our partners are very large global companies that have to deal with the same problems and challenges in the same modes of transportation, whether they're in North America, whether they're in Latin America, whether they're in Europe, whether they're in the Middle East. So these challenges are universal for them, and having a stable platform they can deliver all around the world gives them something that a level of assurance that they're delivering something of value and that's been proven to be successful in another area.
You know, forgive me for thinking of this from a sales process perspective, but you know, one of the challenges is some people don't fully realize what all Cisco can do for them. And I think in this area, I got to think that must come up in the sense that, is there a common job title or person that we like to work with or identify with in these different industries, for these modes of transportation, that we're like, I wish the person in this role would reach out to us so we could work together to do this? Or is it simply a senior management and ownership type of thing that we look at?
So it's a great question, thank you for that. So most of those visionaries come from capital programs, and what's really important in these big transportation infrastructures is they do 5 and 10 and 15-year capital planning, right?
Gosh.
So that individual has to have the vision, foresight, and courage to move forward in this collaborative environment, because these are long-term implementations that, you know, can make or break a career based on their partner.
Really slowly too, though, because
slowly.
It can, yeah, it's hard to guess because we operate. Guys, they're used to operating in a quarter by quarter, month by month type of environment. Okay, so when we like to have those conversations also from a top-down level, I would think as well. And one area that it seems not fragmented because but so many different manufacturers. Not like rail systems, I think, where there's a little bit more limitation, is the automobile side. I didn't tell you I was going to go there, but I was just curious, because I've heard that we're doing different things, and we've got skunkworks teams and stuff that occasionally I see you trickle out that are doing some interesting stuff. Is there anything you can share on what we're doing in automobile?
So I will disclaim I'm not part of the skunkworks team, but what we're working on is the infrastructure side of it. So if you think about an automobile as a node on a network, it's reliant upon that network. So the ITS infrastructure, the connected vehicle infrastructure, there's security policies that have to be implemented. Again, there's an architecture all the way from the roadside, the traffic signal light, all the way back to a data center for the traffic management. And then that needs to be integrated across modes of transportation, because we share the road with freight and trucking and mass transit vehicles.
Now that you talk about the number of parties you have to integrate with to get something even close to a protocol or a standard to be able to interact is monumental, but we're tackling that.
Absolutely, and think about the authentication and the trust that needs to be inserted upon that network, right? Because if I want to communicate from my vehicle to your vehicle, you need to know that my certificate is authentic, and that the information that I'm sharing with you is not spoofed.
Wow. It's interesting, because before I learned how to put GPS tracking on my wife's phone, I found that I could actually backtrack from the censored data we get from the toll booths, and I could tell direction of travel and things, you know, when we get the bill, because it was a real-time updating on the website in Texas. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So we're about out of time, but is there any one thing that you think is most important for someone to understand about what we're doing in connected transportation, or ideally where we want to go there next? I think it's an exciting area.
We're moving across all the modes of transportation, we're building validated designs, we're proving them out in the field, and we're becoming extremely relevant to our customers, and they value what we're building for them. And I think that's the key in any industry, right? You have to focus, you have to execute, and you have to show the industry you're committed to solving their hardest problems.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you.
I think
that's an exciting area. I would like to check back with you and kind of see where things continue to progress, and keep me in mind for the good stories that we have on that as well.
My pleasure, thank you.
Hey guys, that's Connected Transportation. Be sure to look it up to get more information. We'll put it right there on your screen. We appreciate you watching.